Welcome to Tin Can Program. This is the fourth video in our Career Mode Guide series. Today, we will be flying an Orbital Rendezvous mission in Kerbin orbit. Afterward, we will perform a second rendezvous at Moon. The first rendezvous will show the basic concept. The second rendezvous includes a few extra steps to show how to perform rendezvous in orbit of any celestial body. Before you begin this mission, you should already have the contract for Orbital Rendezvous in Kerbin orbit. Sometimes, these contracts ask for crew transfer as an additional goal. Though this goal is not shown, we will cover it at the appropriate time. Before we can rendezvous, we need some craft in orbit. Begin by launching another Tin Can 3 to orbit. This will be our target. Leave it in orbit and return to the Space Center. Enter the vehicle assembly building and load Tin Can 4. To save some funds, remove the science instruments from the service bay. Do not remove the service bay itself, which acts as a basic heat shield. Now, save this modified Tin Can 4 so we can use it again later, and then launch it to orbit. If you need help, more information about flying Tin Can 4 is available in the third video of this series. Once in orbit, open the map and set the Tin Can 3 orbiter as your target. Targeting is essential because it allows the map view to show any upcoming close encounters. Now everything is ready. If you are still learning, this is a good time to save so that you can try again if you need to. To set up the rendezvous, look for the spot where your orbit intersects with the orbit of your target. The first step is to make a prograde burn at this point. As your orbit grows, control the throttle carefully and bring the arrows as close together as you can. We don't need to line them up perfectly just yet. Warp ahead to the ascending node. This is the pivot point where we can realign the plane of our orbit. To do this, check the angle shown at the upcoming node. If the angle is a positive number, align yourself toward the anti-normal nav point. For a negative angle, instead align toward the normal nav point. Once aligned, wait until you are close to the node. At the node, burn at low throttle. Carefully bring the angle to 0. Now, only one more correction is needed. Go to App and align to retrograde. Make a very small burn to reduce your encounter distance. Get it as low as you can, but anything below 2 kilometers should be fine. If you are still learning, this would be a good time to save so that you can try again if you need to. We're all set up for a close approach. All that remains is to match the target's velocity. We want to do this when very close to the target. That's what makes it a rendezvous. Set the speed indicator to target mode. This shows your speed relative to the target. Next, warp ahead to about 1 minute before your close encounter. This is still too far away to burn, but it gives you plenty of time to align toward the retrograde nav point. Wait until you are about 10 seconds before your close encounter, then hit full throttle and burn off all your excess speed. An important note, 10 seconds is really just a guess. You may need a little more or a little less time to match your target's speed. If you blow past the target before speeds are matched, you'll need to start burning a little sooner. On the other hand, if you match speeds but the target is still far away, start burning a little later. As your relative speed drops, control the throttle carefully. As soon as your speed is low enough, and you are close enough, the Orbital Rendezvous contract goal is complete. As usual, return to the Space Center and grab a new contract if that was your only goal. For a crew transfer, which is a common contract goal, both pilots will need to be on EVA simultaneously. The smaller you make your close encounter distance, the easier crew transfer will be. Other than this detail, flying the pilots from one craft to the other is very simple. Target the other craft while controlling a Kerbal on EVA. Press R to use the jetpack, then use the standard WASD controls to fly. Ascend and descend with the Shift and Control keys. You can use the bracket keys to quickly switch between nearby craft without leaving the flight view. Another consideration is pilot experience and the ability to use the retrograde hold. Without the use of this hold, the Tin Can 4 orbiter can be tricky to stabilize during re-entry. Your return to Kerbin is standard. Recover one craft at a time with a simple retro burn to atmosphere at about 25 kilometers. Now, the rendezvous we just did was specific to Kerbin orbit and the use of Tin Can 3 and Tin Can 4. But with a few changes, this same process can be used in orbit of any celestial body. We will demonstrate this process with a second rendezvous at Moon. In fact, you may get a contract for a Moon rendezvous. It's not uncommon. To begin, launch Tin Can 4 to Moon orbit. Reduce costs by using the variant we saved earlier with no science instruments. This will be our target. If you haven't flown to Moon yet, the Tin Can 4 video has all the details of how to do that. That's video 3 of this Career Mode Guide series. With the target in orbit, launch another Tin Can 4 and then head for Moon again. Make sure this second craft orbits Moon in the same direction as the first. When your flyby arc closes into an ellipse, cut the throttle. Target the other orbiter and the encounter arrows should appear. Burn carefully toward retrograde and observe the motion of the arrows. Stop burning when the arrows are close together. There's no need to get them perfect yet. From here, you can follow the same steps as before. First, correct the ecliptic at the ascending or descending node, whichever comes first on your orbit. Next, set up the final encounter by burning prograde or retrograde at AP. Get it as close as you can. In some situations, creating the initial close encounter can be tricky. However, once you have it, you can clean it up and make rendezvous, so long as enough fuel is available. Finally, just match speeds once close to the target. As a final note, this is a simple brute force approach, and not particularly efficient. Here at the Tin Can program, we are unbothered by inefficiency. Now that you know how to complete orbital rendezvous contracts, you will soon get a contract for landing on Moon. To learn about moon landing, proceed to the next video. That's it for this video. Thanks for flying with Tin Can program. We are required by internet law to instruct you to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Tin Can program is expanding to Twitch for Kerbal Space Program 2. You can find more information about that in the video description below. Thanks for watching.